guys, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, and we're doing another episode where we look at the comic book ads. Now, if you recently watched the episode of Cover Battle where we did 3 Iron Man comics, this book here was one of them, yeah. So we said, you know what, let's dive in and do one of these and check out the ads. Now, right, one of the reasons I chose this one right off the bat is because when I opened it up in the Cover Battle episode, I seen this here, Wrath of the Black Manta for the NES. I don't know about you, if you've ever played it or not, I really liked this game. I thought this was a great game, and it was by none other than Taito, published by Taito. Put the force of one on your wall. Send for your own free Black Manta poster. Yeah, so you could have that cool Black Manta poster. It was an okay poster. I never had it. But it says crime and kidnapping have put a death grip on New York, Tokyo, and Rio. A solitary figure strives to squelch the misguided dealings of a bunch of underhanded terrorists bent on kidnapping innocent kids. Only the Black Manta possesses the powers that can save them. Isn't it just something like the back in the day? It was always like one vigilante versus everybody. But that's the way we liked it. Nice and simple here. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the artwork in this particular issue. John Romita Jr. did not knock it out of the park, if you ask me, but that's okay. We're focusing on the ads. Now here we are, Gargoyle's Quest, a fantastic game, by the way. Graphics so real you'll forget it's only a game. Nah, I'm not gonna go that far. It's Game Boy. Now back in the day, Game Boy graphics and for what you could do were pretty darn cool. You could have a game this good portable. Sure beat those Tiger electronic games, I'll tell you that. But if you look at it here, dazzling graphics and excellent sound brings a whole new dimension to the Game Boy. Yeah, it's not as good as the NES type of ones, usually, but you see it's a step down from the NES graphics and things, but it was a very serviceable, doable game. Pretty good game. I'd recommend checking it out if you can find it for cheap on the Nintendo Game Boy. It was a Capcom game, by the way, and you usually knew. That's one of the things you could tell. A game was going to be good by Capcom back then. Now, I can't always say that today, but back then, pretty awesome. And here we go. Once again, they thought a lot of people that were collecting would also collect comics, would also probably collect sports cards, which, is an unusual thing because you don't usually say comic book readers, and sports fans. Those, don't normally intersect, they would say. Now, I think that was a little bit of a stereotype because I liked sports, I love sports, and I liked comic books. But, there was a stereotype on comic book readers back then. The comic books still at this time were not as accepted as they are today. So, it is what it is. So here we are, Hi-Fi Fleer basketball cards. Nothing super fancy. I never collected them. If you did, let me know. I'm interested to see your take. Were they worth collecting? Were they good? Now here we go. One of my favorite kinds of pages always was these sales here. And I use these a lot, believe it or not, with my resale comic shop when I was younger and selling comic books. Sometimes what happened is they're hard to find, or sometimes they're pretty easy to find. What people would do is they give me a large order of comic books they were looking for. And my job was to find them. Find those comics and deliver them, and I'd put a markup on there a little bit for my time and effort, and so I could make money. And making money that way would help me buy my comic collection. Because there was no way at that point I could afford to be buying all the comic books I wanted. So my resale business, I set up my shop, would help. People would prepay so much up front, I'd do the work, find it, deliver it to them, and make the money. And then I slowly created my own backlog of comic books too, to hold on to, because I knew, okay, these are ones probably people are going to ask for, and started my own comic shop that way. So, yeah, back in the day. I used to love these things like dollar comics, 75-cent comics, 50-cent comics, things like that. It's usually what happened is people like me back then, you couldn't find them all in the spinner rack, right? So, and we only had so much around us to look for. We didn't have this online fancy, can just Google it and everything else and go to eBay back then. We didn't have those options. We had to actually physically search. So this was quite a good deal. Yeah, I know some people, well, the internet would start coming around there. Yeah, it did. But it still wasn't as prevalent. We didn't see it as much. Look at that thing. Boom! All right, so what's going on here? There's Rhodey. Cool dude. Okay, now this ad is absolutely awesome and fantastic. This ad here made me want to buy this game. It made me want to have a TurboGrafx 16, which I did not get. I still don't have a TurboGrafx 16, which is sad. And that's Splatterhouse. You didn't get many games like this, much like this back in the day. This was, like, the gore level was way high for that period of time. It was the mansion of Dr. West, but those who knew better called it the Splatterhouse. West may have been the greatest whatever. I can't read it as well here. Should have brought my reading glasses with me here. Whatever, some kind of psychologist or something like that in our field. Parapsychologist. There we go. I had to look really close to it to be able to read it. But we do have to visit his. Do we have to visit his old home? It gives me the creeps. Think of it as a school research project. Besides, the house is empty. What can happen? Then we hear a scream and a noise. Jennifer, what is it? Then we hear, after a fight in the dark. What? What happened to me? What happened to Jennifer? My head. Something's wrong. Can't see straight. What's the matter? Then we hear, another yell. My face. It's covered with the terror mask. How did he know it was the terror mask? The terror mask. Legend tells that the wearer is granted vast power but can't remove it. If I take it off, I may never get Jennifer back. So he realizes he needs that strength. But once again, he didn't know he couldn't remove it. Rest in pieces, you ugly slime balls. Nothing can keep me from getting Jennifer back. Oh, yeah? I'm as good as dead unless you can help Rick rescue me. In the all-new TurboGrafx 16 Splatterhouse. Splatterhouse is a trademark of Namco. Anyway, this was gore. It was really cool. Great game. I didn't ever get it on TurboGrafx 16. By the way, if you don't have a TurboGrafx 16 and this is one of those games you want, look for the one on PlayStation 3. There's a Splatterhouse PlayStation 3. The game gets a little bit of mediocre reviews. I think it's better than what people give it credit for, though I haven't played it extensively. But you can unlock Splatterhouse on there too, so you can get that as well as I think it was Splatterhouse 2. I don't know if Splatterhouse 3 is on there. I'd have to double check. I don't remember. So you can get it that way a lot cheaper. So great ways to get it, or you can always emulate if you absolutely have to. All right. So here we go. Become a video game superstar with these high-powered game books. Yeah, just $9.95 each book in stores everywhere. Winning strategies for levels of Nintendo, tricks for over 70 Nintendo games. This was back, by the way, the way you would get your tips and things back in the day, because once again, you couldn't just Google it, couldn't get a YouTube video and watch how to get through it. You had to figure it out or talk to your friends. And sometimes your friends weren't the best at explaining things, or, let's be honest, they didn't know as much as they thought, or they just make crap up, right? Oh, did you know you could do this? Blah, 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 and you couldn't. That was sort of the fun of it. You sit down with a group of friends, play those games, and learn. If you didn't know it, you could always get these books kind of things and read about it and how to solve it. Oh, look at that. Knee to the face. That's never going to feel good. Come on, Rhodey, take them out. All right, here we go. Some more advertisements, a lot of comic books to order, things like that. Yeah, they weren't nothing super fancy looking, but they did the job. A lot of small print, right? And read all those, order the comic books you want. I loved those things. I sort of miss them. And now we have bullpen bulletin, Stan's Soapbox. I love Stan's Soapbox. I don't always agree with Stan Lee, but a lot of times he's pretty on point. He says a lot of stuff that Marvel twists today. They try to use his name to sell things and twist messages. You really can't believe them for what they say. A lot of these people, these writers right now in Marvel, have agendas that they're a little odd. They're a weird bunch, just to say the least. And you can't always buy into their agenda and believe everything they say. I strongly suggest if they try quoting Stan Lee and things, look at the whole article. They're often taking things out of context and everything else. For example, Stan Lee was a big fan of leaving the characters alone and creating new ones to fit certain needs. They love to surpass that. They'll twist it and look at its diversity messages and stuff, which is absolutely fine. But when it comes to the what he meant behind that and everything else, oops, I hit my camera there. Sorry about that. Behind everything else, they really twisted the messages, which is sad because, you're taking a guy that's passed away and you're taking his messages and you're misappropriating them, which is just a shame. Dateline, Comics with Johnny Marvel. You had checklists and make sure you didn't miss your stuff. All right, here we go. Another one. I never read this. The Knights of Pendragon. Out now for Marvel Comics. If you ever read this, let me know about this. Captain Britain's okay. I have no problem with that character. It's sort of interesting. He's sort of like Marvel's Green Lantern Corps, but there's one like that with as well as, there's the Nova Corps, right? There's a lot of corps in Marvel, let's be honest. So, but, he's so often an overlooked character, not given a lot of attention. They try to give him a little bit of attention here and there, but just never a whole lot. Here we go, another one of the advertisements of getting their titles. Once again, this was a smart way of doing things, telling people what titles they have out there, offering discounts to buy quantity deals. Like the more subscriptions you buy, the better price you're going to get. But, you know, it is what it is. They just want to gouge you like crazy now. They flood the special deals to the comic shops where they have to buy so many of this issue to get the special issue here, and that's why that special issue costs so darn much, is because the only way they can recoup their cost. There's a lot of, sad to say, but pretty shabby business practices in the comic book industry. And here we go, we have Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 in one game. You know, I played the Back to the Future first game, not a big fan. I mean, it didn't make a lot of I mean, there is some elements of the movie in there, but more like they put a game and said, hey, let's slap Marty on it. Well, that's not exactly true. They did the guitar thing and everything else, but it just wasn't a good game. It was a mediocre game at best. Now this one I hear is even worse. I've never even bothered to play it. Heard it's very easy to get lost. I don't know. If you like this game, let me know. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe I'm prejudging and I shouldn't. I'm all for giving it a shot if it's actually, people are saying it's a good game. Otherwise, I don't buy it right here. Look at this. Sorry, I keep hitting my camera. 2 exciting missions in one incredible game. Is it really? I don't know. You let me know. And then here we go, because once again, most likely, if you're reading comic books, you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And then you're going to burn in hell, right? Yeah, it's just all kinds of speculation and things. But yeah, you know what? Maybe you are the market to play this. This is a different variation of the game here. Look, you get that and all this stuff. Enter the dungeon game. A romp-em, stomp-em, roaring good time, monster bashing, dungeon crawling, and treasure collecting. Explore the depths of the dungeon on your fantastic journey of mystery and suspense while you search for hidden treasure. Use your powers and skills to avoid secret traps and fearsome creatures. As a dwarf, elf, warrior, magician, cleric, or fighter on a perilous quest, you battle the forces of evil to find the treasure. Win the game or just survive. And I gotta move a little closer here because my eyes are having a hard time seeing this here without my glasses. Start your journey today. The Dungeon board game can be found clinging to the shelves of toy or hobby store in your neighborhood. So in other words, if you're not quite into Dungeons and Dragons, this is a good entry point. Also, if you find it complicated and you need to learn things, this might be a good entry point as well for the non-hardcore players. But you know, there we go, guys. The advertisements from issue 262 of Iron Man from the year 1990. Yep, 1990. So there we go. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you don't mind, I love comic book ads. If there's a certain issue or a certain time period you want me to explore ads, let me know. I may have it. I may be able to do it. All right. Thank you for your time. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. And until next time, keep it cool.